Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron Podcast. Always report in. This is Andy, Pod Job, standing by.
This is Tracy, Pod Tracer, standing by.
This is Lexi, Pod May, standing by.
Whoa, I lost my place already. All ships attack formation. Mission objectives.
Welcome to my life, Andy.
Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from a galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes a little bit of news that's out there. We're going to cover just a touch, but then we're going to catch up a little bit on The Bad Batch Season 3, just episodes 4 through 7. We're not all the way caught up, but we don't want to get through too much in one go. And for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, aka the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing, as always, is Tracy, right?
Hi, I'm Tracy, hot nerd girl, fresh off the heels of WonderCon with Andy, Chinese Pirate. Lots of fun.
And on my other wing is Lexi.
I live in Colorado, so I don't get to hang out with them. It's been chilly here. It's raining right now, and the nerdiest that I'm getting is keeping up with Bad Batch.
It rained all of WonderCon, so hey.
And of course, we are just one squad in the fleet. We are part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on the Geekish Network, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Follow all the other great shows here. As Foils to Attack Position, we are going in. We're going right into it. So, first of all, Tracy, do you wanna give us a little lowdown on what we saw at WonderCon this weekend?
Well, I didn't even get there till about 4 o'clock on Saturday. So you got to go to the Discovery panel, which I was very envious of. I missed that.
I'll talk about that in a second.
Oh, I'm very sad I missed that. And yeah, I mean, it was a bit slower. I think between Easter weekend and the rain, it was just I don't know. I liked it. I actually felt comfortable not wearing a mask inside the con.
It
so
was
I
so
was
nice.
okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like you have room to breathe. You can walk around
Yeah.
and you can just kind of take time to like check out the vendors and just lots of open space to like,
Now
you
you
know,
understand why I like outdoor festivals, you
I
guys.
mean, seriously,
Yeah.
WonderCon, you know, I mean, and of course, by speaking its praises, you know, we're probably working against ourselves because, you know, so we want people to go to WonderCon, but not so many because, gosh, it's like old school Comic Con. It's like, you know, I mean, the other
Yeah.
kind of nice thing is that because WonderCon doesn't get as much focus from the big studios and all the Hollywood stuff, it really actually gets to be a con about comics and artists. And that's the really nice thing of actually just getting to sit down and, you know, talk to your favorite artists or discover new artists. I mean, that's always a trippy thing to me. I mean, I know, you know, Tracy, you have a number of
Yeah.
friends who you get to reconnect with. And I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
shout out anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, none of them are particularly Star Wars based, but there's some really good, original comic book writers, like Jason Beckwith, who does the Taking Eden and Tool and um what's the Chronicle? I'm blanking on it all of a sudden because my brain is fried. But yeah, and of course, there's amazing artists like Patrick Ballesteros. There's Tony Kim who does the Hero Within clothing line. All really amazing stuff. And I've been going to WonderCon for 22 years, since it was in Oakland,
Oh,
California.
you went to it back
And
when it was in Bay Area
I
too.
did, yeah.
Wow,
It was
wow.
the big thing was that they were showing they did a panel for the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie,
Ha.
and there were no celebrities, no directors or anything. They basically showed the trailer and gave us a ton of swag.
Those were the
So
days.
but this year WonderCon felt kind of like that. Now,
Yeah.
granted, this is my first WonderCon since the start of COVID. So I don't know what it was like the last few years, but it kind of had that original Oakland WonderCon feeling and
Yeah.
vibe to it, which was really kind of refreshing for me,
I
still
mean, me
being COVID
too.
aware.
You know, just talking about like some art, you know, it's like I didn't talk to him because, you know, I don't know. I mean, but like I remember I used to be the one of the biggest fans of Jay Lee back in the day, and I'm like, oh, he's sitting right there at a table. You know, I mean, he's not quite as wacky with his crazy inks that I used to love, but I mean, but it's cool to just see him there doing sketches and talking to people. A few other, you know,
Lots more like original content creators too, as
yeah,
opposed to just people. Oh,
just people,
as opposed to people just doing art of like famous characters,
right, right, or people who, you know, have worked for the big houses but are also able to kind of pursue their own personal projects too.
Yeah. And
A
some
lot
really
of
good
craft folk,
cosplays still, and even with the rain. Oh, that's the
yeah, a
thing, is that
lot of
nobody
good cosplay.
cosplayed. It back 22 years ago, people weren't cosplaying. We had one Darth Vader and two stormtroopers. And so the cosplay revolution, and people were still went all out. So,
Yeah, saw a lot of Ghostbusters this time. I
mhm.
saw a couple of Slimers that were pretty fun. And it was actually kind of funny. I was commenting that occasionally you'd see just the guy with an umbrella in their backpack, and I'd think, oh, it's the Ghostbusters. Oh no, I'm wrong.
Plus, I
uh,
got to hang out with my brother, which is always a perk.
that's a that's a great perk. Yeah, Tracy mentioned that so they did do a advanced screening of Star Trek Discovery's final season premiere. And yeah, they screened just the first episode. It's premiering this Thursday. Apparently episode 1 and 2 will be running together. So I still have not seen episode 2, but I gotta say, I know not everyone is like super hot on Discovery. I have enjoyed Discovery for what it is, and I also understand a lot of things that, you know, you could say are flaws. But you know, if you embrace what Discovery is and where it's just straight up sci-fi action, I mean, Star Trek on
Even
TV
outside the
has
Star Trek
never
universe. Yeah.
looked so cinematic, and that's really I gotta say, even though they're they're using a lot of, you can tell they're using some volume stuff, but like the worlds are expansive, the effects look just beautiful,
Mm.
and there's some really kick-ass action in this first episode, I gotta say. I think this is gonna be a fun season and a really good send-off for this series. I will also tease that the premise of the season this year, because again they're doing a full season arc like they've been doing since the beginning of the series. The premise is actually really neat. If you're a next gen fan and you love some of those kind of random obscure story threads that they kind of left hanging, I think you'll be pleased with what they're gonna explore with this. And I'm not gonna say too much more, but
Do you mean kind of
yeah.
like they did with the Maquis, which was later picked up in Voyager, stuff like that, or like the little brain bugs in Conspiracy?
Yeah, in that vein, but neither one of
Okay.
those.
Well,
There
sure.
there was a storyline that I remember when I was a kid. Like the execution was a little hokey, but the impact of the story or the concept behind the story just field felt epic and
Oh,
huge.
did it.
It
Um,
fielded.
it fielded it fielded
Fielded.
epic and huge, and clearly it was just a little bit too epic and huge for the special effects and the, what they were doing able to do with, a Planet of the Week format. So I'm actually really excited that they're bringing this idea back and delving a little bit more into it. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel because I knew that they were going to do kind of more of a relic hunter kind of fetch quest thing for this season. I had heard that teased, but now that I know what the fetch quest is about, I'm actually kind of psyched about it. So I'm actually really looking forward to this season.
Did they talk about Section 31 at all?
They did. Well, they didn't. Okay, so they had the producer of Discovery and the director of the first episode and I think the finale episode of the season. And he apparently was also the director of Section 31 film with Michelle Yeoh. And he said they
Wait, did you say
just
film? They're doing a film, not a
yeah, it's
series?
not a full series. Well, it's
Oh,
like you can only have so much Michelle Yeoh right now because she's in high demand. So I think they
that's
just
true.
optioned to
Good for
go for,
her.
a for streaming release film, feature that is being directed by the same director, and he was very excited because he said they actually just wrapped shooting about a week or so ago, so it's in the can, it's going into post. Hopefully we'll see that either later this year or early next year, but yeah, a lot of cool stuff, going on in that
I think they should
that
do a
galaxy.
sausage finger Easter egg.
Oh, that would be so good.
The one other thing that I'll mention is that I also got to sit in on a panel discussion with, if any of you are fans of Resident Alien with Alan Tudyk.
Oh,
Um, it's a really fun show,
yeah.
and it's Alan Tudyk just being a total freak. Um,
He's so good. He's so
very
good.
good. This current season, they have introduced some other aliens. If you're fans
I'm
of
not
this
caught up.
whole,
I'm not caught up yet,
you're not
but
caught up.
no,
The
it's
season
okay.
is
It's okay. Yeah, vague spoilers are not something that make me upset. And actually, wait, no, talk spoilers all you like, because my whole earlier is that I have a housemate moving out. They're knocking in a way that tells me they've locked themselves out. So
Do you need to go get them?
talking Resident Alien, I just need to unlock the front door.
fair enough.
Oh
Okay.
my
Let them
gosh.
in or whatever they need. All right, I'll be right there. Maybe my dog will pop in if you're
Yeah, so they just had two cast members and I think the showrunner there, the actor who plays the sheriff, and Asta, the actress who plays Asta. I totally have a crush on her. I think she's cute. uh, um but they were kind of talking about, it's just fun because you even when you watch the show you can tell this is a cast that has fun together, and particularly with this season where they have introduced a few other alien characters with their own kind of wacky proclivities. Uh, um, yeah, there was a lot of talk about, takes that they could not get through without just tearing because they were laughing so hard.
Of course, Alan Tudyk is a Star Wars alumni.
That's right. Oh, I forget that. That's right, because he's the voice of K2SO, right?
Yep,
Yes.
sure is. In Rogue One.
In Rogue One. And hopefully we'll see him again in Andor season 2.
Yeah.
Which I think they are saying is coming out next year now.
You should probably save Andor talk for when Lexi's back. Oh, she's back. Never mind. If Andor is mentioned, it has to be with Lexi present.
No, I was summoned. No, we just had hands full.
We're just transitioning from Alan Tudyk to Andor season 2 and hoping that we get K2SO in the second season.
That would be so good. I'd be so happy with that.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
The other kind of big thing, I know there's a few other things in the games world which I'm not quite caught up on, so give me a week to do a little bit more research before I talk about any of that. But I think the big thing, and we did talk about this a little bit last week, is the Acolyte trailer. Did either of you guys check that out?
I only got to do one watch through, but I mean, I liked what I saw as far as like the editing. I mean, so far what I saw in the trailer, they've made it dark and moody without sacrificing like actually being able to see what's going on. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a thing lately, isn't it?
Lots of lightsabers, which I like.
Well,
yeah.
And lots of yellow lightsabers
Lots
too.
of gold sabers.
I'm really intrigued. There just seems to be a lot of references to gold and yellow sabers popping up in various media right now.
Like the Peacekeeper saber, the as neutral as you can get and still be
Well, and I wonder. I think there's really interesting implications for what that can mean mythologically in the canon as they reestablish that. I mean, because
Rodney's showing the trailer, and I need your guys' help to solve a dispute between my boyfriend and I. He thinks that a guy coming up is the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I think that this guy looks way too like old, or not old, but
small on my screen, and I can't. Well, I'm not gonna get any help.
Carry-On Moss, of course, and Carry-On Moss is awesome.
It's coming. That guy. He thinks that's the guy. Dude? No, he's not Asian. He's definitely like a white guy, but he's got like curly brown hair. But he thinks that's the twin brother. I'm blanking on his name right now from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Well, I can say the Asian dude is the guy from Squid Games.
Okay, so you guys know nothing about it. So argument is still. I don't even. I mean, like I've watched a decent amount of Always Sunny, but those are not episodes I've seen, and so and I can't really see. It's so tiny on my screen. I can't get it to get
little boy, bigger. Baby boy.
Oh. God. Okay. Wait. Never mind. It's bringing something back, but I still couldn't. I still couldn't see the trailer big enough. I'll have to go back and watch. Now I'm gonna IMDb that later. All right.
Anyway, I think that the guy on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I think is just the cutest thing. He's so cute, and this guy looks like he's at least 10 years older to me, and a little bit more gaunt. Also very handsome, just very different looking. They've got
all those like different colored lightsabers. It looks like a 90s rave. With the glow sticks. Anyway.
Well, okay, so do either of you guys know what kind of lore-wise was established about the yellow sabers? I think it goes back to like an Knights of the Old Republic thing, right?
So you had the blue, which was like a little bit more of like the defender, you know what I mean? Like, right? Like the more active.
Versus the green that was kind of more like interested in the okay, like the green was like more into the living force, was like
the
sentinel or something like that,
the healer archetype, the defender, and then like yellow was like the peacekeeper sort of,
right, almost. who was the more combat oriented, right? And I do kind of wonder, right? I mean, we know that by time episode 1 comes along, Coyote Mundi is like, psha, there are no more. We haven't seen Sith in a millennium, and this is not a millennium ago. So that's the thing of two things change here. Is one, all the yellow sabers show up. Well, both show up less and are relegated to temple guards.
Okay, so
and
yellow is typically Jedi Temple Guard lightsaber pikes.
well, that's current or in the later years, but back in the old Republic
Oh.
But
days,
like the
they had three classifications of Jedi that they associated with blue, green, and yellow. It was like
hold
Jedi
on.
Sentinel, Jedi Peacekeeper, yeah, something like, I can't remember what exactly it was, but it
That's
was like,
Old Republic.
yeah, but like I think it was like the green were like more interested in the living force, or no, blue was like in the living force, and they were like in the here and now. The green were in the cosmic force and kind of more kind of meditative-y and stuff like that. And then the yellow were a little bit more combat relegated. And of course, purple didn't happen until Mace Windu.
and the purples wished a motherfucker would.
Yeah, he's he's got a little bit of dark side inclination in his combat style, which gives a tinge of red or something like that, right?
Well, he would have been. I like the idea that he would have been blue, but he's got a little red, so
yeah.
purple. Even though it's light color, so like, would it be pigment or would it go by the anyway? That never mind.
Okay, well, the Googles aren't helping me at the moment.
Googles aren't helping.
So.
Okay. But I mean, that said, we've also seen, of course, Rey now carries a yellow lightsaber. We've seen, I think in the comics, they have shown both Luke and Anakin with yellow lightsabers at certain points in their history. So they seem to be making an effort to kind of play with that messaging a little bit. So.
I found a thing.
You found a thing.
Okay, blue guardians. So exhibiting a skill with a force that supplemented their own lightsaber skills. A lot of combat. Green, which is more of the thinkers and philosophers, like you said, inner workings of the force. And then of course, red, we have like the Sith, which is pain, anger, choice to tap into the dark side.
At one time they were saying that Sith red was a synthetic blade, and then later I think they retroactively turned that to orange, and they got rid of it entirely. Now they do the whole red is because the lightsaber has been bled with the wielder's hate and rage.
Hey, the thing that the kind of half joking that we were talking about, the balance of red and blue being purple, that's mentioned in here. And yellow is, like we're saying, the sentinel.
It is a sentinel. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, interesting. Lots of cool stuff. I'm looking forward to this. I'm also just really excited because reading interviews with Leslie Headland and knowing that she is a big EU fan and is kind of trying to draw on the best of the EU to really expand the world and the galaxy and kind of focus on an era of like discovery and exploration. I hope it brings some new flavor to Star Wars. So,
yeah, it's gonna be some space Matrix.
Space
Matrix in space.
With space. What's her name? Space. Oh crap! What's her name? What's Carrie-Anne Moss's character name?
Starts with a C.
Trinity. Space Trinity.
Trinity doesn't start with a C. Her real name starts with a C.
Yeah, Trinity.
Jedi Trinity.
In Matrix, yeah. It's interesting. It looks like a little bit of time jumps to you.
Oh, really? What makes you say that?
Different hairstyles. Some people were speculating that the little girl that says I see fear or see fire is the younger.
Is Carrie-Anne Moss?
No, the little black girl.
Yeah.
Because
I definitely thought that.
Because the main character also, isn't she the same actress who played the younger in Hunger Games or something?
Yeah, she's Rue in Hunger Games. names. Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
Amanda
seeing her.
Amanda Stenberg.
Yeah.
I remember seeing her in interviews at Star Wars Celebration last year, and she seems quite delightful and like, you know, happy as pie to be in Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
you don't often see Star Wars actors show up at the convention in like their own cosplay, and she did.
Aw.
Also Amanda Stenberg, I think, is a she they.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I was gonna say,
Um,
gotta stick up for a fellow femme them.
Indeed.
Not that you're trying to, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, that's forgotten. I know I don't care, but I also like I don't mind being called she. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't, but I also know that I'm like, it should be noted.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more as we get closer because we're only on our first trailer. But shall we move on to the Bad Batch?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we are
Speaking
starting
of yellow
from,
lightsabers, I know that's
we
not for a bit, but
well, okay. We are starting from episode 4. You know, I just realized I was kind of teasing talking about yellow lightsabers, but we're not talking about another very important yellow lightsaber just yet. So we'll have to get to that till next
Yeah.
week. But so we're starting with episode 4. We're going through episode 7. So episode 4, a different approach. This was kind of a follow-up after episode 3, where we're
What?
seeing huh?
I said, what?
What?
4 is a follow-up to 3?
Crazy numeric order. Crosshair and Omega kind of making their final escape from Tantus after Nala Se basically says, hey, they found your blood. You got to get the heck out of here. Here's my pad. Yo, like, get the heck
go.
out. Get the heck out of Dodge. The other interesting thing was getting to a little taste of Emperor Palpatine at Tantus and actually name dropping Project Necromancer and you know implying more of this whole clone initiative to keep himself alive, which is very interesting.
Pal.
Any thoughts about this episode?
Well, I know we kind of talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but the big thing that I noticed was that Hemlock had a tremor in his hand, and it was
Yeah.
like the opposite hand as Crosshair, which I
Yeah.
feel like some more hints about that came out in the following episodes that we're going to talk about. And then the big thing for me was that the cinematic look of the last frame where you see the Crosshair on one side coming out of the ship and the rest of the Bad Batch on the other side, and there's such a huge gulf between them, and
Right.
Omega kind of walking towards Crosshair like
Yeah, and the thing that struck me about how visually wide or how wide the perspective of like in a wide frame of the space between them is that just a couple of shots earlier you had Omega closing that gap very rapidly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it didn't seem like very far at all, but you know, I mean, that's intentional. There's layers to that.
Well, there's also, you know, I mean, a lot of really fun banter between Omega and Crosshair.
Is it
Uh,
the episode where she says something about like reminds him that she's older than him or
yeah,
no,
I
that's
mean,
late. No, that's
no,
later.
that's later.
that
No,
later?
you're right. You're right. That's later. That's later. Thank you, Tracy.
but there is some banter as she insists on bringing Batcher
Yeah.
with them, and you know you kind of get to see her challenge a lot of um his world viewpoint, right, in terms of, you know, what is loyalty, you know, what is the best course, looking out for oneself, or you know, like, you know, embracing kind of the sense of
The
family,
family. Yeah.
and just really enjoying a lot of that banter, as kind of watching Crosshair kind of question, or rather being kind of forced to question everything, right? I mean, because now he's stuck in it, he has to escape, so now it's either, you know, help or die.
But also I think he realizes that he wants to be part of a family. I don't think he felt like he needed them, you know.
Yeah.
Well, one, he had there was Order 66 and everything, but once you know, once he you know, once that one officer, I can't remember what his name was, came up after the one guy was killed. This is, I think, last season. And he said, you know, don't bother with him. He's expendable or
Yeah.
something along those lines. You know, when he realizes, like, I'm showing these people all this loyalty
I'm treating
and
them
they
like
have no loyalty to me.
Yeah.
And there's these other people here who, you know, they might not, you know, trust me yet, but you know, they've always been loyal to me and they've always been my family, and I need to embrace that.
I'm gonna jump ahead because you get a lot more of that pathos in the next episode, which is the return. And this is they get a hold of not Tech, they get a hold of Echo.
Echo.
And Echo is looking at the Imperial data pad that helped them escape. And Crosshair says, you know, I know an old abandoned Imperial base where we could probably access this panel, which of course is the base that he was stationed on when he shot his superior officer.
And they have that snow vulture, that shot of the snow vulture.
Yeah, there was a little bit of symbolism there, right? With kind of this dark shadow kind of hanging over him. But this is also where a lot of the conflict between Hunter and Crosshair kind of comes into play. First of all, you know, I love that. I love just the dynamic where you have Wrecker and Wrecker's like, Omega trusts him. Okay, good enough for me. You know.
Well, and Echo seems to trust him right away too. He's like, "Sup, where you been?"
Yeah. He's also like so blasé. He's like, they'll work it out.
Can I tell you why my take on why Echo is so chill about it? Because Echo has also been a long-term captive of the Empire.
Yes, he was Winter Soldiered himself.
Right. So he's like, if he's here, he's probably on board. If he's here with the kid, if he's here with the kid, he's on board. Like I know what that does to a clone. You know? He's seen it. He's seen it.
I would have liked that conversation with Echo and him. It's like, so got you too, huh? Right? Don't you hate it when that happens? But yeah, I mean, a lot of really interesting stuff. I just found it really interesting how personal they made it, where it's like as he and Hunter are trading jabs, and Crosshair is just like, look, you're just jealous because I was able to help her and you were not.
It's the other side of daddy issues, where the daddies have issues.
Yeah. Which was like, wow, some digs in there.
Oh, Crosshair, like the claws came out. Oh, girl, what? That was so aggressive. Ooh.
But then right after that, when the ice worm came out,
yeah, they have to put
Hunter would immediately push Crosshair out of danger.
Sure.
Like without even they're about to come to fisticuffs, and he's like, rumble, 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 pushes him to safety.
Yeah.
If it were an anime, it would be like, no one gets to kill me but you.
Yeah.
Also, just saying, really good timing for this to like come out around the same time as Dune. So we have a snow worm instead of a sandworm.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Other notable moments in this episode. I mean, just honestly, just a lot of good banter and
when they started digging and Batcher went, "Oh, I can help," and like dug for them.
Yeah. Oh, Batcher's like a space pit bull.
Well, also, you know,
Master.
like they should just know by now. Listen to the dog.
Yeah.
God damn it! Always listen to the dog. That's like the rule of storytelling. If the dog is saying something, listen to the dog.
Yeah.
One thing that was kind of a harken back was when Crosshair was on that planet the first time, he was there, like there's a shot where he's helping Mayday back, and then he sees Mayday's helmet
Oh
there
yeah.
in the pile of helmets, and it's the one that he picks up before he starts straightening them out. And then
Yeah.
later we see him and Hunter mirroring that same, like helping each other over this ridge.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. And you know, and again, bringing back the ice vulture, it's like him, like it's I think it's like the beginning of his, like the last of his transformation and coming to peace with himself and what
Right.
he did.
It literally, it's like it's the literal dark shadow hanging over his head, right? And then, and of course, when he's like at peace with it all, the dark shadow flies away and goes, hangs over someone else's head or something. I don't know, but but yeah, no, a lot of good stuff here. Good relationship work. Interesting to kind of see Hunter getting vulnerable here. But also even more interesting when they have resolved, and then Crosshair takes it a step further, and he kind of goes into, look, Hunter, I've done things I'm not proud of, and like, Hunter's basically just like, look, don't even apologize. It's fine. Don't do this.
It was a
It's gonna get
crazy
awkward,
time,
bro.
y'all.
Don't make me cry, bro.
You had a chip in your head. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, it was a good scene. It was a good scene. I'm sure some people felt like there was some filler vibes, but okay. I also want to say this because I saw this on a meme earlier today, and I've been feeling it all weekend. There's no such thing as filler. I'm so frustrated.
It's world building.
It's world building, and also, you know what? I this is partially because I've been talking to writer friends. This is another panel I went to at WonderCon, which was writers in the post-strike reality, and it's rough, guys. It's like really rough because most of the studios really just kind of pushed back all of the production schedules, expecting that they would not start anything at all this year, right? So that's why a lot of releases are being pushed to like fall, or they've re-released streaming stuff on broadcast and stuff. So like this time right now is usually what would be pilot season, where every actor is being yelled at by their agent to not take any low-paying jobs because they want them to be available for pilot season, and there is nothing because nothing has been in development during the times when it would usually be in development. And part of that is because they've changed the streaming model, has changed it so that what used to be television was like a 27, 22 episode run. And when you think about it, like more than half of the episodes of any season of any TV was what we would now call filler, right? Like
Shades of Grey.
Right? I mean, it's like, and that should be okay. It's like, just entertain me for this week. And
there's also the fact that people don't stop to, and when I say people, I mean your average audience member that doesn't necessarily have an understanding of, or even if they have a vague understanding of it, they don't necessarily have like the experience of working with something where there is no filler, no mental downtime. And if you see those movies like Michael Bay, it's just like, it's just blue on blue. When you get something that is nothing but like hard-hitting moment after hard-hitting moment,
it gets exhausting.
Like your neurosystem literally tunes out and just goes bah after a while. And
especially something with animation too, like you have to plan with animation. You can't just, I mean, they have to. So you have so many people being paid a lot of money to do all that.
So people being unable to unappreciate the pause is disappointing, but understandable.
Yeah, I mean, we're on. Everyone is kind of still. It's like, the first strike was cable television, where it's like cable dramas, where it's like Game of Thrones and The Sopranos are like, someone's gonna die horribly every week, and it's like gonna be shocking, right? But yeah, I think there's something to be said for character and world building episodes where, you know, Deanna Troy just talks about how she loves chocolate this week.
And that's what they can, and
You
that's
know?
that's when they're best used, is when you go, you know what, we need the audience to have a little lull so we can pull
or
the
like
rug out from
Data's
their
Day,
feet,
right?
and we build the
Shades
world
of Grey.
Yeah.
Shades of Grey is the ultimate filler episode. They just put him in a coma and did clips from episodes.
Yeah.
A couple episodes of the original Avatar like that.
Oh yeah, totally. So that said, you know what? There's good character work happening here. So filler or not, I like it.
Screw you. It's not filler. I don't consider something filler if it serves character building or world building or relation. Yeah. Well, I consider relationship building, character building, or themes. You know,
I agree.
If it literally, like, I would consider something filler actually if it is action that doesn't really further anything.
So now, on that note, let's move ahead to episode 6, which was Infiltration. A lot of really interesting world building things happening here. We finally get to check back in with Rex, and Rex has a whole crew here. A couple great little callbacks to, like, you know, who's cooking and who's got whatever secret recipe, and, you know, Hauser comes back, which is interesting. We also get to see Senator Singh have a
who's
secret
voiced by
clandestine...
Siddig El-Fadid from Star Trek.
There you go. Who, Dr.
Julian
Dr. Bashir there, but also meeting up with Senator Chuchi, who was the big advocate for the clones we saw last season.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Lexi.
But then they used to be on opposite sides, right?
Yeah, well, that's they make a cool callback of that. He was Singh was a separatist. Chuchi, of course, was part of the Republic, and now they find themselves in the unique position of everyone's afraid of the Empire and what Palpatine can do. But we see them. There's an attempt on Senator Singh's life by an assassin, and this is, of course, is another one of these altered clones. We think that
the shadows.
You know, they seem to be heavily implying that what was happening on Tantus was this extra level of brainwashing and optimization that is creating these kind of assassin clones.
You know, it's interesting with your theory of what was your theory of potentially having Tech be like the prototype Dark Trooper.
Right. I saw that theory, yeah.
And so we were floating that theory, and then this seems to be taking it one step further with the further brainwashing of the clones and having them so programmed that when you break their programming, they almost can't speak to you.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're a shell, they're a husk, except for the fact that, like, they don't have, you know, cybernetic mods the way that Echo does, which also kind of hints that maybe he was a different side of the program, that they're seeing how much they could augment the clones.
Right.
But he has a trouble following orders.
You
know, just like
that was
very into his gizmos.
Yeah. So,
well, and it's Gregor too, right? Is that Gregor?
The assassin clone?
No. The clone commander who's giving orders to the assassin and doesn't listen.
It is Scorch.
No, Scorch is the Republic commando. The commanding officer. Oh gosh, I thought it was Gregor.
I thought it was Wolf. Is it Wolf?
Oh, maybe it was Wolf.
Lost on that one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that was Wolf. The one.
Okay,
and in episode 7, he takes up his
So this is the cool
Gregor,
thing.
Gregor and Wolf are the ones that were with old Rex.
Exactly. So yeah, we see what is it? Rebels, when we are reintroduced to Rex, he is there with 2 remaining clones on a walker, and it's Gregor, Wolf, and Rex, and so now this is our finally getting to kind of see Wolf, and of course Gregor, of course, Wolf has not joined Rex yet, but they make some teases about that as well, which is kind of fun to see.
But he lets him go.
He does let him go.
Yeah.
He does start questioning,
Questioning orders.
questioning orders. Also questioning what the hell is up with this crazy ass assassin dude who is not following my orders and is going rogue constantly.
And who is targeting Omega, but they're supposed to keep her alive.
Yeah.
So like his targets were to kill Singh and to find Omega, but to capture her and bring her back because of the whole M count.
So he's wondering
that we saw.
what info he's not getting that's having this other operative go rogue on him and over his head.
Oh, that's true. Okay, we also didn't really go into and talk about this, but that was the last episode was where the Batch discovers that that the Empire has put a bounty out on high M count targets.
Yeah.
And presuming that Omega also has a high M count, which is why the Empire wants her. And they, of course, do not know what an M count is or why the Empire wants people with high M counts. And that's the mystery they're trying to track down. Is this where they does Fennec Shan show up here or later?
Fennec, no, it must be later because
later.
I haven't watched past 7.
Okay, sorry.
It's got
a spoiler.
Rude.
Let's see here.
So I have a theory about Crosshair because Crosshair and this assassin are fighting, and at one point they talk about Crosshair mentions that he chose not to be an assassin because he was defective, right? But then when he's fighting with this assassin, the assassin says something along the lines of, "You could have been one of us." And they're obviously deeply programmed. And I don't know if they're in some kind of stasis in between missions, but this assassin, when he gets called up, he says, "Why have I been activated?" So we were talking earlier that they're like the winter soldiers of Star Wars. And it made me wonder if Crosshair's hand problem is because of some kind of programming that they were, or manipulation of some kind that they were doing during this evaluation to see if he would be a good shadow assassin.
Right. And also, as you pointed out, it's interesting that Dr. Hemlock also has a weird handshake.
Same tremor, yeah.
Yeah, a couple interesting little hints here. Another thing, we see Hauser again, and of course Hauser is very distrustful of Crosshair.
For
But
good reason.
eventually kind of warms up to him because he sees they have a cute little daddy moment where Crosshair's like, "You have your backpack? All right. You need help with
crossbow?
That? Okay. Got your okay. Did you go to the bathroom before we leave? Okay. Right.
Need some water?
Yes. And Omega's like, "Oh, you're worse than
Did you go pee before we left?"
But it was kind of interesting to see that interaction. One, because it was kind of cute, and just kind of watch him caring for Omega.
And seeing Hauser be like, "Wait, he genuinely cares about the kid." Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Because she says, "Oh, you're worse than a hunter." And he's like, "Oh, you don't even know the half of it."
Yeah. You're as bad as Hunter. I'm worse. And she's like, "I'm older than you."
I think one of my favorite exchanges between the two of them, and I don't remember which episode it is, where he said, "I don't much like that." She goes, "You don't like anything."
Yeah. That's true.
That's true. Yeah. I don't much like that. You don't like anything. That's true.
Good world building. Also, just cool to see Rex's operation. Of course, a lot of that operation gets blown up. It gets blown up. Unfortunately, so he's got to start all over again. Let's see here. Yeah, they also kind of, I wonder if there's something to be said for, so CX1 is that clone shadow assassin.
CX7.
Is it CX7 or CX1?
That's the one who's captured. They take out
CX1
his...
is the one who's captured who talks to them.
No,
right,
CX7 is the one who's captured that they take out that talks to them.
Oh yeah, so CX1 is the badass one.
I think I never heard his name, but you might be right.
Well, okay, so the main thing is that they also kind of play with this idea that his beacon is not working, so he doesn't have direct contact to his handler, right?
Handlers, yeah.
And he is in theory stranded on the planet, on his own, and I kind of wonder if that's a tease of, you know,
yeah, because it looks like he dies in the waterfall,
back?
but then he crawls out.
Extended, prolonged being alone time. Is that a thing?
Maybe he'll start to deprogram.
Yeah.
And turn into
that's
tech.
kind of what I'm hoping that is that they're teasing is that you know there is a way to deprogram them.
Because everybody was like, oh, they got rid of tech because him and Echo are basically like the same thing. But Echo was like, I don't know what to do with this. This is a tech question.
Yeah.
Too bad tech's not here. I'm like,
anyway. Yeah, no, I mean, no. The way that I see it, Echo does hardware, tech does software. Those are different guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. You know
like,
what I mean?
Like tech's your IT guy.
And this guy did a lot of demolition. Like he did a lot with his planted bombs and stuff. Oh, okay. One missable moment that I thought was kind of neat was when when Crosshair is facing off with the assassin, and he's like frustrated because he keeps missing because he does his shot is not quite lined up, and he kind of just gives up and goes fuck it, and like takes a bomb, puts it on the front of his gun, and shoots the bomb. I was just like, that's a cool little detail.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Are we ready to crosstalk?
Yeah.
Oh, also, did we talk about how Omega has a new energy crossbow?
We didn't, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's lime green.
Another cute little daddy moment with Echo.
If we're doing next week, oh yeah, that was really. See, that's the thing. He's the gadget guy. Like he gave her the gadget anyway. I'm so sad if like next week I'm gonna miss yellow lightsaber talk. The eclipse will be worth it, but I won't be back yet.
All right, so we're wrapping this up. So yeah, so next week we'll start back up from episode 8 through, God, what are we up to now?
I don't know, but I was so excited about
it'll be episode 8. Yeah,
I was so excited about the latest one that like I might have to literally send you guys in just a little
next
blurb
week,
from my reacts.
So it'll be
10
8, 9,
will
and
be-
10 then?
Yeah,
Probably?
10 will be out next week. Yeah, 10 is out this week, this Wednesday.
Right.
So
8 is the one with Fennec Shand. 9 is the one with
la 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 la.
Yeah.
And we'll see what 10 brings us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I screamed at the TV like somebody who's really into football watching. Like, you know what I mean? I really like.
I pretty much knew what was going on when you posted that, and I was like,
yeah.
But I don't think it's the last time. I mean, they seem to be.
I
really...
don't think so either. Anyway,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I loved it so much. I might have to. I might have to send in a couple little reaction. You guys can read them out in absentia.
Fair enough. Yeah, so thank you for joining us this week. Again, we'll be back next week. We'll catch up with episodes 8, 9, and 10, and see if we can catch up on some of the other news that we are picking up, because there are a number of things that are trickling out in the world right now as we start con season, right?
yeah.
With Wondercon now, I know tickets just went on just went up for D23 later this year. So
Those were expensive. Too
yeah,
rich
they
for my
were,
blood.
and kind of annoying to get to.
That's what I heard.
I hate virtual queues, guys. Virtual queues are dumb.
So say we all.
They just put my name in a lottery and tell me what they'll let me buy, so that I don't have to have like, sit there and like during a whole day of work as a little man walks across a green bar, and that is just annoying. But we are welcoming.
Hello. Hi, Chuck. Hi, Johnny.
Hello.
The
Hey,
guy. So we're doing
hold
some
on.
crosstalk now.
what's going on, everybody?
How you guys doing?
How you all doing?
All right.
good.
Just stroking my pussy.
Hi.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And what a furry pussy it is.
Not gonna comment on any of those.
Wow. I see it. It's a big pussy too.
Isn't it? Isn't it cute? It's so
Mhm.
pretty.
Oh,
Mhm.
for all the people that are actually listening to this on a
Biting me.
podcast.
There are. They're gonna be like, what are they
Right.
talking
my
about?
pussy.
Right.
How
What are
you
you
all
guys
doing?
talking about today?
I'm gonna talk about WonderCon, and we've had a number of deaths happening today, actually,
Oh,
on
really?
April
Deaths?
Fool's Day. Yeah. Yeah, Mark D. M.D. Bright passed away.
Hmm.
He is, if you are not familiar with him, he's a longtime DC and Marvel artist.
Hmm.
He
Wow.
passed away at 68.
Oh,
The
man.
guy that created Hip Hop Family Tree, the comic book series that talks
Oh,
about
wow.
the history of hip hop, he passed away at 41.
Wow.
Ooh,
He's
that's
a
so
relatively
young.
That's super young.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
relatively young.
And then what?
Uh,
Last week, Lou Gossip Jr. passed
Yeah,
away.
Yeah.
that.
Yep. We're gonna talk about Marvel 97. Are y'all watching Marvel 97?
Yes.
X-Men.
X-Men.
Okay.
X-Men 97.
So-
X-Men 97. That's right. I said
So,
Marvel
okay, really
97.
quickly asking
Mhm.
about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you heard kind of like my comment earlier about frustration of people talking about whether episodes are filler or not. And I was just
Mhm.
kind of lamenting that there seems to be an expectation of every episode something has to happen, and the complete opposite I realize is of course X-Men 97, where it's like, my god, they went through the whole freaking Madeline Pryor thing in one episode.
Yes.
They just like in breakneck speed. I was like, wow, you just powered through a lot of story.
Yeah, they are. It's like a comic book. It's like
Yeah.
every panel, every scene's an action scene. It's like,
Yeah.
wow,
You can do that
this
with
is a
animation.
lot.
You can do
Yeah.
that
There's
with
a lot.
animation so much.
And it's been great, but
Yeah.
I do kind of wonder, like, would I have liked them to take their time a little bit more? I don't know.
But that's how it was
don't
when
know.
we were kids.
I
Like
guess
it
it
feels just
was.
like it did when we were kids.
Right. I've watched the first 3 episodes and I love them.
Yeah.
I think
What?
they're great.
The only criticism that I have seen is that Bishop doesn't have a mullet. That's it.
Well, I'm gonna be honest.
Otherwise,
I think Bishop looks
everybody-
better without the mullet.
I mean,
so.
they got to save all that
Yeah.
mullet energy for Forge, though, right?
I mean, they had Magneto Daddy out here.
I know,
I
man.
know.
Got his gun
I'm
showing
not,
and
I'm
everything.
not
Yeah,
opposed to
man.
Magneto
Yeah.
Daddy in the slightest.
He's
I just
zaddy.
gotta say.
Magneto's
he's zaddy
zaddy.
out
And
here.
and giving Gambit a run for his
Hair.
money. Gambit's
Giving
all
a Gambit,
jealous.
like, yo,
Giving
bro,
him a
what's
run.
up?
He's winning this race. I feel like he's winning. I feel like Gabby's got to keep up.
It's also just, I mean, the things that I forget, because I did not really have the time to kind of rewatch all of the original X-Men series before this, but like, yeah, when I think back on it, like all the stories that they did, right? Like Age of Apocalypse, they did Mojo World, they did
Mhm.
the Shi'ar, like they did Dark Phoenix, like
They did Dark
they
Phoenix
had-
and Phoenix, yeah.
they had like the blessing of hindsight to be able to pick back at pretty much some of the greatest X-Men stories,
Yeah.
and basically bring it to you week by week, right? And it seems they're going right into write more of that, and it's kind of just, it's surprising. I don't know. You know what? Another thing too, I was surprised also what a badass Morph is.
Yes.
Oh,
I love Morph.
yeah.
He's my favorite character right now.
Oh,
Well-
really?
And Morph is my favorite character.
Okay, so something that I found
kinda
just
with
super
you.
interesting in that first episode or second episode, right? And we're like, damn, Morph is just straight up trolling on Wolverine. He's just
He
like,
is.
he just like,
Got a little bit of a
"Damn, dude."
Deadpool vibe to him, right? He's got like this
Mhm.
tragic backstory, but he's comic relief. Yeah.
but like super rough, like
Mhm.
no punches pulled, and then like the next episode later, and of course Logan's all feeling sorry for himself because they have a baby and they're all happy, and he's like wanting to be alone and sitting in a tree or something like that, and of course he shows up with Canadian beer and
Goes into Sabretooth mode.
goes into Sabretooth, and at that point it was just brilliant to me because it was always a bit of a forced thing to me that
Mhm.
Morph was somehow Wolverine's best friend, and Wolverine was all bent out of shape because Cyclops left him behind. It's like, what are you talking about? Why is Morph like Wolverine's best friend? If Wolverine's like the loader, he should always be the loader. But this like one scene went, oh Jesus, Morph is like the toughest character
Mhm.
in this team setup,
He
and
trolls
he's the
everyone.
only one who can stand toe to toe with Wolverine because he
he's
can
the-
turn into Sabretooth, he can turn into Psylocke, he can turn into Angel.
He's
and emulate
also
their
the only
powers.
one who will kind of like have that like fuck with him kind of.
Yeah, I love their
Like,
dynamic
like
together.
like
It's
I know what you
cool.
really like. He knows what he really needs. He's like, my guy needs to blow off some steam.
Yeah.
My guy needs
Yeah.
let's get him some beer and a face he wants to punch.
Right. And I've
Yeah.
always
know
felt
my
like
guy.
Wolverine stood up for people, but I never felt like Wolverine had a friend.
Yeah.
Morph is
Totally.
his friend. They're just bros hanging out, talking trash. Like, I love how they're doing
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
And-
Jubilee.
really
I always
cool.
felt like him and Jubilee were always had
But
like
that
a
was like
I thought he was
bond.
protective of Jubilee.
Yeah.
He's
Like father
protect, not
figure.
his right, not her
Yeah,
friend.
it was like oh that like sassy little sister kind
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of vibe. But Morph is the one where it's like they meet each other on a similar level,
Right.
and Morph knows what he needs.
Yeah. Yeah,
Everybody else is like, Logan, talk about your feelings. Logan,
Right.
be reasonable. Logan, be rational. And Morph's like,
Right.
you want some fucking beer? You want to like punch it out? Like,
Or he
Yeah.
turns himself into Jean. Like he's
Yeah.
just great. Like
He
everything
messes with
about
him.
what an
everything-
idiot you're being right now. But he's
it's great.
accountability.
But let's talk about Logan being Wolverine, being dirty Mackin. He's like,
Yeah. He's
Scott made a
simping.
baby with a clone, and you're
I know.
sick. I'm
And he's
taking
like-
care of him.
And immediately
You
like,
know who
oh, okay,
I
you got
am?
your own. I
I'm
got
the one taking
mine now
care of
too.
you. He ain't even here. He's with the fake you. He's with the fake you. And she says, where's Scott at? He was hurt. He was heartbroken again. I was like, look
Can't
at you,
win
dirty
for losing.
Mackin.
He's got to move on.
You
I'm
gotta move
sorry.
on.
He-
No,
Yeah.
like,
he's-
come
it's
on.
he's
creepy.
at this point, he's a stalker and it's creepy, right?
Yeah,
it's
he would
pretty
be
much.
all
Yeah.
on the internet right now. Like,
The heart wants what the heart wants.
man, he's got to
But
move
he
on.
would be canceled.
Yeah,
I
I mean, let's
Right.
not talk about like the hole he punched in the little picture with like, and it's not just a picture of Jean Grey. It's Jean Grey and her man.
Yeah,
And
right.
her man.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
he's got to stop. Come on, he's got to
He
move
has
on.
to move on. I said,
Logan,
Logan's
you've
kind of
matured in
toxic.
so many ways, man. Can you catch up with this? Can you stop being
Mhm.
Right.
like the emotional
go.
equivalent of like the angry dude in his mom's basement, please?
I mean, if Morph was a really good friend, then
well, I mean,
Well, he hinted at
Wow,
that.
wow,
I mean,
Tracy.
look,
I mean,
I
he did show up as Psylocke there, and I
Wow.
remember
I
myself
think-
in the '90s, and
I think that's what he
whoa.
was trying to do by teasing him with showing up as Jean Grey.
Jean,
Right,
like,
yeah,
Give
right.
you some as Jean, if that's what you need.
Yeah.
I'm your friend.
by sparring
Yeah.
buddy, I mean hi.
Hi, yeah. New sparring
So
buddy.
did we peep when like they were in the training room and then they were like, "Where's Magneto and Rogue?" And then they just
Yeah,
show up together.
well, that
That's
was
like Morph just going, and
Yeah, oh,
scrolling
yeah,
through
yeah.
and just
Yeah,
scrolling and scrolling.
Yeah.
That also kind
Yeah.
of blended into Gambit's nightmare thing from
Yes.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
He
So
walked in
it
the room,
yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
what?
They
Which
Yeah.
was a
really
great
went.
episode. Like it was like horror slash kidnapping. Like I thought they really took it there. They
Yeah.
put the baby in the fluid.
I
And I was
mean,
like, no,
you
they're
know,
not. They put the baby in the fluid.
I mean,
Like,
that's
They
kind of
boiled
crazy.
the baby.
Boils on
They
him.
boiled the
It's
baby.
Yeah.
crazy to me
Yeah.
that it's
Baby.
only been 3 episodes and how much ground they covered, right?
Yeah.
Like combining the whole thing with Magneto at the UN with how Storm loses her powers and gosh, okay, total January 6 vibes with
Oh,
the
yeah.
anti-mutant protesters. I mean, like just like okay, yeah, no punches pulled, man.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that's what X-Men has always been, though. It's always
Yeah.
been a social commentary.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I think that narratively it was a really neat way, and by neat I don't mean like wow cool, like I mean like I thought it was a very clever and succinct way of demonstrating how far Magneto is willing to go to try to honor Xavier's memories so
Yeah.
far as far as what we're seeing from him. The lengths he's willing to go to either prove that he is or convince people that he is to take all of the government officials all the way up there and be like, you know what I would have done, but I won't. And I thought that was such a good blending.
Yeah, he's being
that
super
Xavier's
honest.
not
He's like,
dead.
I'm literally just doing this for
They
Charles.
know where
Yeah, he's like,
Xavier
"Look,
is. He's not dead. They know where he is. He's not
Yeah.
dead. They can go see him.
But
Yeah.
I think Magneto took him up there and let him know I am him.
Yeah, that's what
And
I mean. Where he's
I
like,
can
look,
end all of
he's
this.
like, I am still
Oh.
capable of this, and it is the only reason I do not is the respect I hold for my friends. So will you
Mhm.
respect my friend's vision the way I do?
Well,
'Cause
also,
you're
Yeah.
not.
and also just I also just really just nerdy good writing, right? Of when he says, his speech with the
Let me down.
do not make me let you down.
Yeah,
And
don't
they're
make me
literally
let you down.
both literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
It's like,
That was a
okay,
great line.
yeah,
That was a great
yeah, I
line.
dig it.
It's-
I dig it.
It's a good series.
Don't
It's
make
a
me
good
let you down.
series.
Yeah, a good fight between Jean Grey and Magneto. That was dope. I liked seeing that.
Well,
Yeah.
even all the Goblin Queen stuff, man. Like,
Mhm.
God, the
Yeah.
color palette of that with all the purples and greens when she blows up the stained glass windows, and you just have like
Mm.
shards of color surrounded. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's
Even
really
girls
good
in her-
animation too.
Girl was in her Maleficent era right there.
Yeah.
The purple and the green, the purple
Yeah.
green flames and the descending down the steps. And I was like,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah. It was funny. I was like, they boiled the baby in the episode.
I couldn't believe they
Wow.
did that. Disney bored the baby. Oh my god! Wow! I was like, this.
Well, we know
Um,
who that baby becomes.
Yeah,
No, we know
I was
who
gonna
he becomes,
say,
but
I mean,
still,
are
it's
we
just the
seeing
fact
him
they
next
did
week,
it.
or are they gonna let that sit a little bit?
They're gonna let it sit a little bit, I
Yeah.
think. I think he'll
3
pop back up
episodes.
like they'll probably pop up episode 8, but they're moving fast.
Right? Yeah, it's wild. Cool. Well, for all this and more, stick around for Geek Beast. They are on next. We're gonna wrap up our show here. Please make sure you follow the Geekish Network on YouTube and Facebook and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us here on Monday nights. We'll be back next week, and we're gonna catch up on the Bad Batch. And check out the schedules for all the other great shows here on the Geekish Network throughout the week. Thank you on the flight deck to Rodney. And of course, we are the Pirate Squadron. Check out all of our stuff on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For podcast subscriptions, you can you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I'm the Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I'm Tracy Hutner Girl on all the things. I just want to boop Hera through the screen.
Oh, yeah. She took off. She's got no patience for me. Tara,
You're Feral Geek.
Tara.
Lexi.
Lexi,
Lexi,
you're
sign
Feral
off.
Geek.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. on Instagram and Facebook. And sometimes I post nerdy things. Usually it's other people. Sometimes it's me. Check it out. You might might eventually catch me posting something about me. Here's the boopy snoot.
We couldn't see her at first, and it looked like you were doing some questionable things.
Oh, get on my lap.
Hi, Arab.
Right on. So, and then one last little plug. Check out the season premiere of Star Trek Discovery on Thursday. I think it's going to be good. Also, I think the season finale of Resident Alien is this week as well. It's been a really fun season, so binge through that. All wings return to base, course laid in, and prepare to make the jump to light speed on my mark. And remember, the truth we cling to depend on our own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
Sancha!